ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something raw, something real, something you might not want to hear. You've been lied to your entire life. You were told comfort was success, that ease was happiness, that being safe was being smart. But look around. How many people are comfortable and miserable? How many people are safe and weak? You're not tired because you work too hard. You're tired because you haven't done what truly sets your soul on fire. You scroll. You sleep. You complain. You hide. That soft voice inside you, the one that says rest. You've done enough. You deserve a break. That voice is your enemy. That's the voice of fear, of weakness, of mediocrity. David Goggins didn't become the hardest man alive by listening to that voice. He killed it. He buried it under miles, under reps, under pain. And you've got the same chance. The same 24 hours, the same pain tolerance, the same fight inside. But you've got to earn it. You've got to stop being soft. Quit being a pissy. It's not about toxic toughness. It's about discipline. It's about standing up and saying, I refuse to be ordinary. I refuse to let weakness write my story. I will not let my excuses define me. You want success? Then run towards the pain. Chase the storm. Bleed now so you can live with pride later. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to push you harder than yourself. No one's going to believe in you if you don't believe first. You have to suffer. You have to crawl. You have to wake up every single day and say, I don't stop when I'm tired. I stop when I'm done. You're not weak. You're just untested. The savage inside you is still sleeping. Wake him up. Grind when no one's watching. Win the war in your mind. Become uncommon amongst the uncommon. And when it hurts, good. When it's hard, even better. Because that's the sign you're finally becoming who you were meant to be. No more excuses. No more softness. No more pity. Quit being a posse. Start winning. You don't need motivation. You need truth. And here's the truth. The reason you're stuck, the reason you're lost, the reason your life feels small, it's because you're addicted to comfort. Yeah, you heard that right. Comfort is your drug, and you're high on it every damn day. Your bed is too soft. Your schedule is too easy. Your goals are too safe. You chase convenience like it's some kind of prize. But that prize? It's wrapped in chains. The more comfort you take in, the weaker you become. And weakness doesn't announce itself. It creeps in, slowly, quietly. You only notice it when it's too late. When your back's against the wall and you fold like paper. People have it all backwards. They think pain is the enemy. They think suffering means something's wrong. But suffering is where growth begins. Pain is the alarm clock for your potential. Every time you run from pain, you run from progress. You don't grow when it's easy. You grow when your muscles burn, when your lungs scream, when your ego cracks. Discomfort is not a punishment. It's a test. It's the furnace where real strength is forged. It's the barrier between who you are and who you could be. And until you're willing to step into that furnace, nothing in your life will change. You want results? Then stop asking for relief. Start asking for resistance. Start craving friction. Seek out the situations that expose your softness, that stretch you, that humble you. Because that's where the transformation begins. You don't build a sharp blade without a grindstone, and you don't build a sharp mind without discomfort. That's how warriors are made. Not in warmth, not in peace, but in pressure. See, everyone wants to be great, until it's time to suffer, until it's time to bleed, until it's time to be uncomfortable day after day after day with no applause, no pats on the back, and no guarantee. But that's the price. That's the toll at the gate. That's what separates the beasts from the broken. Your life changes the second you stop avoiding the hard path and start chasing it. Because every time you choose the pain on purpose, you steal your power back. Every cold shower, every lonely morning run, every rep that pushes you past your limit, it's a weapon. You're not just getting stronger, you're sending a message to your brain. I'm in charge now. Most people live in a cage built out of comfort. But that cage doesn't have locks. You can break out. You can choose pain. You can build pain into your daily routine like it's your damn diet. pain for breakfast, discomfort for lunch, struggle for dinner. Because once you develop a taste for it, once you realize you don't die in discomfort, you become untouchable. The only way out is through the fire, through the friction, through the darkness. And when you do that long enough, when you start seeing pain not as punishment but as preparation, something changes inside you. You stop whining. You stop looking for easy. You start wanting the hard days. You start waking up hungry for it. That's the shift. That's when you know discomfort has become your ally. But here's the catch. Pain doesn't care if you're ready. It doesn't wait for you to be brave. It shows up unannounced. So if you haven't trained for it, you'll crumble. That's where callousing your mind comes in. You don't get mentally tough by reading about it. You don't develop grit by wishing for it. You earn it in the trenches. You build it in the cold, in the hunger, in the hours when no one's watching and nothing is guaranteed. The human mind is soft by default. It wants to escape pressure. It wants the shortcut. The brain will lie to you every single day. It will beg you to slow down, to quit early, to take it easy. And if you haven't conditioned it, it will win. Every damn time. But the good news? You can train it. You can discipline your mind the same way you train your body. Repetition, reps of suffering, reps of hardship, reps of pushing past your feelings and following through anyway. It starts small. You run when you don't want to. You finish the workout after your legs give out. You hold the line when your body says stop. Every time you override the weakness in your head, you lay down another layer. Like calluses on your hands, your mind thickens. It stops breaking. It stops whining. It gets strong. And once your mind gets strong, your body will follow. Your life will follow. But if your mind stays soft, nothing else matters. You could have a perfect body, a good job, the right connections. But without mental toughness, it all crumbles when life punches you in the mouth. You've got to teach your mind to suffer. Voluntarily, consistently, not just when it's convenient. Every single day, find a way to test yourself. Something that hurts. Something that humbles. Something that burns away the weak voice in your head. Most people wait for rock bottom to change. They wait for a breakdown, a divorce, a heart attack. You don't need to wait for pain to find you. Go find it. Use it. Mold yourself with it. Because pain is not your enemy. Comfort is. And every time you choose comfort, you kill a piece of your potential. Every time you avoid the hard choice, you stay stuck. But every time you choose suffering on purpose, you get sharper. You get leaner. You get hungrier. You get better. This isn't about being reckless. It's about being relentless. It's about creating a version of yourself that doesn't flinch in the storm, that doesn't fold under pressure, that doesn't run when it hurts. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be forged, and forging takes heat. It takes time. It takes pain. So the next time you feel tired, push harder. The next time you feel fear, lean in. The next time your mind screams quit, go twice as long, because you're not training to survive. You're training to dominate. You're training to endure what breaks other people. You're training to win. Not just when it's sunny and smooth, but when it's dark and ugly and everything inside you is begging to stop. That's how champions are made. Not through ease, not through excuses. Through suffering, through calluses, through a mind that no longer negotiates with weakness. And that's your job. Every day, every rep, every moment you're awake, earn the edge, own the pain, callous the mind. There's a war happening inside you, not once in a while, not when life gets tough. Every single day. Every morning you wake up, it starts again. The battle between strength and softness, discipline and laziness, power and weakness. And most of the time, you're losing. Not because you're incapable, not because you lack talent, but because you keep negotiating with the enemy. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You set the alarm for 5 a.m. It goes off. And what do? You hit snooze. That's a negotiation. You promised yourself you'd eat clean today, but you reach for junk because it's easy. Another negotiation. You said you'd train, but you're tired, so you skip it. Another deal with weakness. You lie to yourself, Soften the standard, change the rules to make it easier. And with every negotiation, you give away control. The voice in your head that tells you to slow down, to take a break, to back off, that voice is not your friend. It wants comfort. It wants safety. It wants to keep you small. And it's smart. It knows your insecurities. It knows your fears. It knows exactly what to say to convince you to fold. It sounds like reason. It sounds like logic. But it's weakness in disguise. And every time you listen to it, you reinforce the lie that you're not built for more. That this is just who you are. That greatness is for other people. That you're supposed to be average. You lower the standard. You stop reaching. You start surviving instead of dominating. You've got to kill the negotiations, kill the discussions. There is no debatey. The standard is the standard. Period. You don't get to question the work. You don't get to modify the mission based on how you feel. You show up because that's what you said you'd do. You execute because that's who you've decided to be. Not because it's comfortable. Not because it feels good. Because it's required. Because it's non-negotiable. That's the shift. That's how you take power back. You stop treating discipline like it's optional. You stop treating the hard things like they're up for vote. You draw a line and say, this is who I am now. This is what I do now. And then you stick to it, no matter what. If you keep making decisions based on emotions, you will always choose the path of least resistance. Always. That's what the human mind does. It seeks ease. It protects itself. But greatness doesn't come from self-protection. It comes from self-destruction. From tearing down the old version of you every single day until there's nothing left but grit, fire, and focus. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel like it. Stop looking for motivation. It's not coming. What's coming is resistance. What's coming is fatigue. What's coming is pain. And if you haven't trained your mind to say yes when your body screams no, you'll lose every time. This life is not about convenience. It's about commitment. You either commit to the hard path or you commit to being average. You don't get both. You don't get results and comfort in the same breath. It's one or the other. So kill the negotiation. Walk into the pain. Own it. Eat it. Because when you stop giving weakness a seat at the table, you start winning. And not just winning in results, winning in identity, winning in self-respect, winning in presence, in intensity, in hunger. But let's be clear. This isn't about suffering for the sake of suffering. It's not about being reckless. It's not about proving something to the world. It's about suffering with purpose. There's a difference. Suffering without purpose is self-destruction. But suffering with purpose, that's transformation. That's choosing to suffer in the right direction. That's becoming something more. Every ounce of pain you take on with purpose builds you. Every rep you don't want to do but you do anyway. It builds you. Every day you show up when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when it's just you and the voice that wants you to quit, that builds you. See, most people avoid suffering. They run from it. They numb it with distraction, entertainment, comfort food, endless scrolling. Anything to escape the discomfort of facing themselves. But what they don't realize is this. The suffering is going to come either way. Life will hit you eventually. You'll face loss, failure, betrayal, disappointment. It's guaranteed. So the question is, do you suffer now by choice? Or do you suffer later by force? Those who suffer now, voluntarily, with vision, with intention, they build armor. They get strong enough to take life's punches and keep moving forward. They don't break when it gets hard, because they've been through hard. They've trained for hard. You've got to suffer with a purpose. You've got to choose the struggle that grows you, not the random chaos that breaks you, but the intentional pain that sharpens you. That means setting standards and sticking to them no matter what. That means saying no to pleasure if it weakens your edge. That means going all in on the mission even when it costs you comfort, even when it costs you sleep, even when it costs you popularity. Because it will. This path doesn't come with applause. It comes with isolation. It comes with fatigue. It comes with being misunderstood. But it also comes with clarity, with pride, with power, with peace. Not the peace that comes from avoiding pain, but the peace that comes from conquering it. If you want to be respected, Start by respecting yourself. Stop breaking promises to yourself. Stop folding under pressure. Stop pretending you can rise without pain. You can't. Your potential is buried under layers of lies, distractions, excuses, and softness. And the only way to uncover it is through suffering. Not just suffering physically, suffering mentally, suffering emotionally, suffering spiritually. Let it burn. Let it crush the weakness inside you. Let it carve you into someone unrecognizable. But never forget why you're doing it. You're doing it because the version of you that settles for average is not the final version. You're doing it because there's another level of you waiting on the other side of this pain. You're doing it because pain is the passport to power, and every rep, every drop of sweat, every tear, every step forward through the suffering. It's a vote for that future version of you. This is about becoming undeniable. Not in what you say, not in what you post, in who you are, in how you move, in what you can endure. So stop negotiating. Start executing. Stop chasing comfort. Start chasing the pain that leads to power. Suffer, but suffer with a purpose. Because the world will never hand you greatness. You have to take it. And the price is pain. If you're serious about changing your life, the first thing you need to do is forget goals. Forget dreams. Forget vision boards and motivational videos. Because none of that matters if your identity is soft. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your standards. And your standards are determined by your identity, who you believe you are at the core. Until you change that, nothing sticks. You'll read the book, you'll start the plan, you'll hit the gym for a week, and then fall right back into comfort. Why? Because deep down, you still see yourself as the person who skips steps, the person who quits when it gets hard, the person who negotiates when pain knocks on the door. You want permanent results? Build a permanent identity, one that's forged in discipline. Discipline isn't something you do, it's who you become. The problem is, most people wear discipline like a costume. They put it on when it's convenient. They wear it when they're being watched. But the second it's dark, the second no one's checking, they strip it off and slide back into weakness. And that's why they fail. Because they're playing a role instead of becoming the role. You don't become disciplined by showing up when you feel like it. You become disciplined by showing up when it's the last thing you want to do. When your body's screaming no, when your mind is bargaining, when every cell in you wants to break the commitment, but you don't. You lock in, you override the excuses, and you execute. That's how you build it. Rep by rep. Choice by choice. You do hard things until doing hard things becomes your normal, until quitting becomes unnatural, until taking shortcuts feels like betrayal. You have to live this. Discipline isn't sexy, it's not loud, it doesn't make headlines, but it wins. Quietly, daily, relentlessly. The people who dominate, who get lean, who get strong, who get free, are the ones who've built a life around discipline like it's religion. They don't need hype. They don't need permission. They don't need rewards. They just show up. And once you build your identity around that, around being the one who does the work no matter what, you become dangerous. Because now pain doesn't scare you. Fatigue doesn't sway you. Delay doesn't distract you. You're not riding waves of motivation. You're walking on concrete, solid, immovable. But don't confuse discipline with perfection. You'll mess up. You'll stumble. You'll have days when your body fights you and your mind turns on you. That's not failure. That's training. Every time you get back up, every time you reinforce the standard, the identity sinks in deeper, until eventually, it's not just what you do, it's who you are. The discipline don't need a reason. They are the reason. But here's where it gets real. Building that identity isn't fun, it's not comfortable, it's not clean. Which brings us to the next truth. You've got to normalize the suck. The suck is the hard part. The pain, the boredom, the grind, the days when nothing feels worth it. The days when it's just you, your demons, and the silence. Most people think those days are a sign to stop. They think suck means something's wrong. But the suck is not the problem. It's the process. Normalize it. You've been conditioned to think life is supposed to be easy, that success should feel smooth, that progress should be quick. So the second it starts sucking, you panic, you doubt, you quit. But the suck is the real work. That's where the growth hides. That's where your edge is built. Every painful rep, every miserable mile, every second you're under stress and still keep going, that's the suck doing its job. It's not just breaking your body, it's reshaping your character. And if you want to win, you need to stop avoiding it and start making it home. Make discomfort your environment. Make struggle your baseline. Make effort your comfort zone. Not because you're chasing pain, but because you're chasing growth, and growth lives in the suck. The people who win at life are not the ones who avoid the suck. They're the ones who've made peace with it. They expect it. They prepare for it. And when it shows up, they don't fold. They double down. You need to look forward to the hard days. You need to crave the suck. Because those days are the separator. Everyone can train when it's sunny. Everyone can grind when it's glamorous. But who's still locked in when it's cold, when it's lonely, when it's thankless? That's the test, and most will fail it. Not because they lack talent, but because they refuse to normalize discomfort. They fight it. They resent it. They want a version of success that doesn't cost them anything. That version doesn't exist. The suck is not going away. Life is going to hit you. You're going to wake up tired. You're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to get knocked down. And if you haven't practiced operating in those conditions, you'll break. But if you've lived in the suck, if you've trained inside it, learned to breathe in it, learned to move in it, then when life gets ugly, you don't blink. You've been there before. You've trained for chaos. You've made pain your training partner. And here's the key. Once the suck becomes your new normal, everything else feels light. The weights feel lighter. The runs feel shorter. The work feels cleaner. Why? Because you've redefined your baseline. You've expanded your capacity for pain. And now, what used to break you barely even slows you down. That's power. That's progress. But it only comes when you lean in. When you stop looking for relief and start finding rhythm inside the pain. When you realize the suck isn't punishment, it's permission. It's the universe asking, how bad do you want it? And every time you keep going, you answer loud and clear. Bad enough to suffer. This is what it takes. Not talent, not motivation, not luck. Discipline, suffering, consistency, mental armor. You build your identity on doing what others won't. You normalize the pain others run from. And in that, you find what most will never touch. Freedom. Fear doesn't need permission. It doesn't knock. It doesn't ask. It kicks the door in and sits right in the middle of your life. It owns your decisions. It censors your voice. It makes you small, compliant, weak. And most people spend their entire lives trying to manage it. They dance around it, tiptoe through life hoping fear will someday go away on its own. But it doesn't. You can't manage fear. You have to attack it. You have to sprint straight into the fire, not walk around the smoke. Fear is a liar, but it's loud, and it's persistent. It tells you you're not ready, not good enough, not strong enough. It builds scenarios in your mind. Imaginary failure, imaginary shame, imaginary rejection. And then it convinces you to obey. Not because the danger is real, but because the discomfort is. That's all fear needs. Your willingness to stay soft. But here's the truth. It's not fear that's killing your potential. It's your reaction to it. You treat fear like a warning. It's not. It's a signal. A compass. Fear points directly at what you need to do. The fact that you feel it means you found the edge. And the edge is exactly where transformation lives. That's why you attack fear. You don't wait for courage. You move while scared. You act in the presence of doubt. You make the leap before you feel ready. Because ready never comes. Confidence is built on confrontation, not preparation. Every time you feel that tightness in your chest, that hesitation, in your gut, that internal shake, it's game time. That's the bell. That's your call to arms. Not to shrink, not to flinch, but to move, to lean in, to fight. You don't build power by avoiding fear. You build it by dominating it, by doing the exact thing your mind tells you to avoid. Speaking up, showing up, going harder, pushing further. Every time you do what scares you, you chip away at fear's control. You shrink its influence. You silence the voice. And here's the secret. Once you start attacking fear, it starts respecting you. It shows up less. It hits softer. It still whispers, but now it whispers from a distance. Because you've proven that when fear steps forward, you don't run, you bite. Fear thrives on hesitation. It feeds on delay. Every second you think, stall, calculate, you strengthen it. You make it smarter, faster, stronger. But when you move immediately without negotiation, you steal its power. You rob it of its grip. Fear is not meant to be managed. It's meant to be hunted. You don't coexist with it. You confront it. You call it out. You invite it to the front line, and you swing. Because the other option, the slow, silent death of fear-led decisions, is unacceptable. You either live as the hunter or die as the hunted. Now listen close. You can attack fear once and still lose. You can face it once, and it'll come back, because it's not about a single victory. It's about daily domination. Every single day. You've got to win the war with your inner bitch. That voice inside that's always ready to quit, always ready to fold, always ready to surrender at the first sign of pressure. You know the voice. It tells you to stay in bed. It tells you you've done enough. It tells you you're tired, you're sore, you're stressed. It tells you that today's not the day, and most of the time, you listen. That voice has been running your life for too long. You treat it like a friend, but it's a traitor. It's the reason you're not further. It's the reason you're not sharper, stronger, leaner, freer. It doesn't want your growth. It wants your comfort. And every day you listen, you feed it. You make it stronger. You reinforce the lie that softness is okay, that excuses are valid, that weakness deserves respect. But that voice? It's a fraud. It's built on habits, not truth. It's built on repetition, not reality, which means you can beat it, but not by silencing it. You beat it by overpowering it. You have to go to war with it. Daily. On purpose. Every morning you wake up, it's already talking. So you better start swinging. You better set the tone before it does. That means discipline. That means structure. That means you start the day on offense, not defense. You don't get to wake up and wait to see how you feel. You dictate the mission. You create the rhythm. You decide what gets done, and then you do it, no matter what that voice says. Because that's what winning looks like. It's not flashy. It's not loud. It's 1,000 small decisions stacked up in defiance of that weak voice. It's cold showers when your body begs for warmth. It's long runs when your legs are shot. It's saying no to comfort food, comfort habits, comfort thoughts. That's how you break it. Not with hype, with action. Brutal, consistent, in-your-face action. The inner bitch will always have something to say. Let it talk, let it whine, let it scream. But you don't move, you don't fold. You outwork it, you outlast it, you outgrow it. Eventually, that voice shrinks. Not because it disappears, but because you've built a new voice. One that's loud, one that's clear, one that doesn't ask for permission or approval. A voice that says, I do hard things. I run toward fear. I win this war every damn day. You're not supposed to feel good every day. You're supposed to show up anyway. You're supposed to execute in chaos. You're supposed to deliver under pressure. That's what separates the elite from the average. The elite don't wait to feel like it. They do it because it's required. Because they've decided to lead themselves, not be led by weakness. And if you want that life, the life where you're in control, where fear doesn't run you, where excuses don't dictate your outcomes, it's earned. Hour by hour. Choice by choice. You have to fight for it. So when fear shows up, attack it. When weakness speaks, shut it down. When the inner bitch rises, bury it under discipline. Do it again tomorrow. Do it again the next day. Don't stop. Don't flinch. Don't negotiate. Because the moment you do, the voice comes back. The fear gets stronger. The excuses get louder. and you slide back into the version of you that you swore you'd leave behind. But not today. Today, you fight.